Mary answered with faith, "Let it be to me according to your word."
She traveled with Joseph to Bethlehem, trusting God's plan.
There, she gave birth to Jesus, the Savior of the world.
Mary treasured every moment, watching her child grow.
She stood by him, even in his suffering.
Mary's faith became part of the greatest story ever told.
Leave your land and go to the place I will show you. Your descendants will be as countless as the stars in the sky. Your descendants will be as countless as the stars in the sky. Even in old age. Because of Abraham's unwavering obedience.
2,000 years ago, the prairie, in the ancient land of Galilee, a man walked dusty roads.
The sick whispered his name in their pain. The blind heard it in their darkness. The dying held it. He did not perform for crowds. He did not seek applause. He simply saw people, truly saw them, and responded. The Bible records miracle after miracle sin, not as magic tricks, but as signs, each one pointing to us. The Bible records miracle after miracle, not as magic tricks, but as signs, each one pointing to a single truth.
His very first miracle happened not in a temple, not on a battlefield, but at a wedding.
Mary said simply, "They have no wine."
Jesus told the servants, "Fill these jars with water." They obeyed
Water became wine. The finest wine the master of the feast had ever tasted.
Joy was restored, a celebration was saved.
And Jesus was asleep. In the middle of the worst storm they had ever seen, he slept like a child.
Jesus stood. He looked at the wind and the waves and said 3 words, "Peace, be still."
They whispered to each other, "Who is this man, that even the wind and the sea obey him?"
Another night,
Another miracle.
a figure walked toward them on the water, and they cried out in terror. Peter stepped out and walked on water until he looked at the storm and Jesus. He began to sink.
He spoke to a fig tree, and it withered from the roots overnight, teaching his disciples that faith-filled words carry the power of creation itself. He spoke to a fig tree, and it withered from the roots overnight, teaching his disciples that faith-filled words carry...
Jesus looked to heaven, gave thanks, and broke the bread. The disciples carried it to the people, and
When everyone had eaten, 12 baskets of fragments remained. Because in the hands of Jesus...
When tax collectors demanded payment, Jesus told Peter, "Cast a line. The first fish you catch will have a coin in its mouth."
He had been blind from birth, never seen his mother's face, never seen sunrise.
Jesus knelt in the dirt, made mud with his own hands, placed it on the blind man's eyes and said, "Go."
He washed. He lifted his face from the water, and he saw for the first time in his entire life.
Jesus stopped and called him. Jesus asked,
What do you want?
"Lord, now
I want to see.
and immediately he saw.
Friends carried their paralyzed brother to Jesus, but the crowd was impossible to push through. So they climbed to the roof and began digging through someone else's ceiling.
The paralyzed man descended through the ceiling and landed at the feet of Jesus. The room fell silent.
Get up, take your mat, and walk!
The man stood up, rolled his mat, and walked out through the stunned crowd, praising God with every step.
18 years bent double slant, seeing only the ground, never the sky, never a face.
Jesus called her forward, laid his hands on her, and said, "You are set free." And immediately she straightened.
Jesus commanded, and the demons obeyed. 2,000 pigs rushed into the sea.
Be quiet. Come out. A father threw himself before Jesus. My son has seizures, kid. He falls into fire and water.
She had lost her husband, now her only son. She walked behind the coffin.
Jesus touched the coffin and said,
Young man, get up!
The dead boy sat up and began to speak. He took her hand and said, Little girl, get up. She opened her eyes, stood up, and walked.
Lazarus had been dead 4 days. The tomb was sealed. His sisters had sent for Jesus. Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.
I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will never truly die. Jesus saw Mary weeping. Jesus looked to heaven and prayed.
Then he called into the darkness with absolute authority, Lazarus! He came out, wrapping in burial cloths, alive! Jesus said, unwrap him.
Set him.
3 days after the cross, the tomb was empty.
He ascended to heaven, but his miracles did not stop. They continue today, in hospital.
Before they were born, God had already chosen twin brothers, one destiny. Jacob, one moment of weakness, one bowl of stew, and Esau gave away something he could never get back.
Running from everything world, God found him, a staircase from earth to heaven, and a promise that would echo through eternity. He wrestled through the darkest night, wounded, but holding on, and God renamed him.
20 years of grief, 20 years of tears, but God's plan